Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Nimble training webinar. My name is Michaela Androdal, and I'm Nimble's community manager. We are recording today's session, so if you're registered, you will definitely receive an email with a link to the recording. And if you have any questions during today's session, please use the question box to let us know. My colleague Taylor will be compiling everything for me, and I will go through every single question at the end of today's session. And during the next about 45 minutes, I will take you on a tour through the entire Nimble application. We'll cover what Nimble is, how to get started, how to connect your emails, calendars, how to import your contacts from various different places. And we'll also go through every single feature. I will also share my mobile screen and I'll show you the mobile application. So for those of you that are just getting started with Nimble, I want to spend a minute or two describing what it is. So Nimble is an easy to use customer relationship management tool, and it helps small to medium-sized business and business owners and entrepreneurs to manage their business relationships better. It integrates with both Office 365 and Gmail and the combination of, and it unifies your contacts, calendars, and communications into one place. We have all the basic CRM follow-up features that you might be looking for, like that you can use to schedule your to-dos for yourself or anybody on your team to make sure that everything that needs to get done is actually getting done and nothing is falling through the cracks. And on top of that, we have a segmentation feature that allows you to segment your database into targeted groups, as well as group message feature, which you can then utilize to message these segmented groups, and then will also give you insights on the clicks and opens, so you see how people are interacting with your messages. Nimble also has deals and pipeline management feature together with reporting. We currently only have one version of Nimble, and the cost of Nimble Business, as we call it, is $19 per user per month when you pay annually. And if you pay on monthly basis, it is $25 per month per user. So here we are inside of Nimble. This is our today page. This is where you will land the first time and every time afterwards when you log into Nimble. But before we go through the today page and every single feature inside of Nimble, I would like to go into settings because that's where you actually start before before you can start using Nimble. So the way you can access settings is by clicking on this circle in the top right corner, and you go to networks and imports. For existing users, this is also where you can go every time you need to import more contacts or if you notice something not working correctly. It can happen that sometimes your email connection needs to be refreshed if you see that your emails are not syncing, or if you see that there is a problem with Twitter integration. So this is where you can go into networks and imports. Probably the first thing you should do is to connect your emails. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, you can it's very easy to connect your emails into Nimble, and you can do your work. You can do your G Suite Gmail, you can do your personal Gmail, you can also connect your Office 365 Outlook, and you can do a combination. You can do as many as you want, which is really useful when you're using multiple emails for your business, because then when you're emailing outside of Nimble, if it is it can be an individual message and can be a group message, then you can easily just click on the drop down menu and always select the one that you want the message to go out of, and then we will give you insights on the clicks and opens because we have email tracking inside of Nimble. So you would just click here to connect more email accounts and select the one that you're using. This is also where you can import your contacts, and it's very easy. One thing that I would like to mention is before you start setting up your Nimble account, especially if you decide to use Nimble as a team, I would think about a tagging structure or a contact organization structure, because when you get started, you might just click, yes, I want to import my Google contacts or my Outlook contacts, and then possibly name it Google contacts. But the thing is that your contacts and the tags will be shared across the team. So then when somebody opens a specific contact record, they will see all the tags, and they will kind of like give them idea on how they got into your CRM database. But if it only says Google contacts or Outlook contacts, they don't really know who imported it. So I would suggest thinking if you'd want to add like your initials to that tag or your name. And that goes for any other imports. So we covered emails. You can also connect your calendars super easy as well. You can connect your Outlook calendar as well as your Google Calendar. We do have an integration with Twitter. It is a direct integration. So if you are utilizing Twitter for personal branding or brand building for business, for networking, it is a very smooth integration. And you can also easily bring your Twitter contacts into Nimble by clicking on this import contact button. And again, so I would like to talk about some of the things that you should be thinking about before you even start setting up Nimble and inviting team members, and before you start importing contacts, because they might be all over the place. They'll probably in your LinkedIn, they'll probably in your Gmail or your Outlook. Maybe they're in spreadsheets, maybe in some other third-party application that you would want to then use to bring the contacts into Nimble. So I would kind of like come up with a list, figure out where all the contacts are, and maybe if you have the time to do so, go through them and maybe delete those that are outdated that you don't want in there. And now I'm kind of more thinking about importing people from LinkedIn. So when you go onto LinkedIn, they'll allow you to download a list, a CSV file of all your connections. But if you're like me, you've probably been using LinkedIn for a while, so you might have some people there that you connected with that you might not necessarily need in your CRM database. So it will require some time and effort, but I think it's worth in the long run, because when you're getting started with a CRM, it's very important to start clean and fresh, because if you just import contacts in bulk and you don't have like a tagging structure in place, and you haven't cleaned the contacts before, it might become messy, and then it might become very quickly very difficult to use. So these are just some tips. So let's go back to importing contacts from Twitter. If you're using Twitter, you might be familiar with Twitter lists. Twitter lists are an amazing way how you can cut through the clutter on Twitter. Basically, you can create groups of people that then you can then focus on. So we give you the option to bring in just specific groups of people. Those can be lists that you personally created or somebody else created. So as long as the Twitter list is public, you can easily bring it into Nimble and then apply a tag to it. You can also pick if you want to import your friends, meaning people you follow each other with, or people that you are following or your followers. But I kind of struggle with importing followers, because Twitter is such an easy place where people just can click, follow and then start following you. So then not everybody that follows you will be a lead. So this is where we give you options to decide and make sure that you're only bringing the relevant contacts inside of your CRM database. I kind of covered LinkedIn. We do not have a direct integration currently. Same with Facebook. The reason is that both platforms close their APIs and we are no longer able to integrate with them directly. But with LinkedIn, you can still go onto LinkedIn, download the list, and then use our CSV import here, or we even have a specific LinkedIn CSV button here. So you can easily import your LinkedIn connections here. It really is super easy. And when you're importing contacts from LinkedIn, so it will be named connection.csv. So you can just select that. And we have saved mappings in Nimble. So when you first start connecting contacts into Nimble, you will actually land on this default data sources tab. So you'll be able to select the source from which you're bringing the data in. The advantage is that you won't have to do much work on mapping the individual fields, because we already know what the file looks like when you download it from LinkedIn. So we're kind of helping you out to speed up the process of importing the contacts. So you would just select LinkedIn and click next. Now Nimble is analyzing it. And as you can see, we already know what the columns in the download from LinkedIn look like. First name is mapped, last name, email, it's the email address field on the LinkedIn spreadsheet is called email address, but inside of Nimble, we call it work email, but we already mapped it. Company, parent company, position, we call title. There's also an extra piece of information that LinkedIn gives you, and that's the date when you connected with the person. So if you feel like that's something you would want to bring into Nimble, you can easily create a custom field inside of Nimble and then bring the information in. If you don't want to bring it into Nimble, and I personally don't really need to know when exactly I connected with the people, you could just click here and skip all the fields that haven't been mapped. Click next. And pay attention to the stuff on the left here. We usually, not usually, always we default to, so this is information that can help you figure out if you want to merge certain contacts. So one question we get a lot on these webinars is how, if we have like a duplicate feature inside of Nimble. So when you're bringing data into Nimble, the unique identifier we use is the email address. The reason is that we don't want to merge two contact records of people that might have like a very common first and last name. And once your database grows, you'll probably have a lot of people like that. So we use the email address to make sure that it really is the same person. And once we detect that it is the same email address, we automatically merge it in the background. So you won't end up with duplicates. You can also choose to override the existing contact fields with the stuff that you're bringing in the CSV file. And you can also tell Nimble to merge on the email if it is available, and on first and last name when there is no match by email. So if you know that you might have somebody else may have imported these people, maybe any of your coworkers, but you don't have you're sure you don't have people with same first and last names, you can choose this option to avoid creating duplicates inside of Nimble. And same for company records. So the unique identifier we're using here is the domain URL, but you can also choose this option and we will merge on the company name if we don't see the same URL or email. And once you figure out what merging fields you want to go with, again, always create a tag. It will make it really easy for you or anybody else on your team to quickly see how the contacts got into Nimble and who imported them. So in this case, I'm going to do my initials. And with LinkedIn, because we don't have a direct integration, you have two options how you can keep your contacts in sync. One option is to possibly put the date on there. It would be easier if I could type. And you could periodically review the tag. And let's say if you are a power connector, you're connecting with, hundreds of people every month, then bringing them in one by one manually using our browser extension might not be a good option for you. So then you may want to re-import them, let's say once a month or once a quarter, to keep the tag updated and all your LinkedIn connections in your Nimble database. So this is how the tag could help you to see when was the last time you brought them in and when was the last time you updated it. You can always edit the tag as well so you don't have duplicate tags. And again, existing contact records would just be merged. So it would really just be updating it. And once you're done, you just click finish and Nimble will do the rest in the background. So that's importing context from Twitter. We covered Outlook, Gmail. Those are super easy. It just comes in with one button. And LinkedIn and Twitter. We also integrate with, I think now it's close to 200 software as a service applications. So if you are using any accounting service, if you're using any marketing automation apps like Mailchimp or Constant Contact, and you would want to bring your contacts in and possibly even keep them in sync, you could use our integration with PySync. PySync is a company that specializes in bidirectional synchronization of data, and the deal we have with them is that we have this inbox integration with them, so you can set it up inside of Nimble without having to go to their site. And they give all our customers 14-day trial, during which you can import all your contacts from the third-party application that you might want to bring the contacts from. So this is a really really good deal, because even if you don't decide to become a paid customer, if you don't want to keep the data in sync, you can still use the free trial to bring everybody inside of Nimble. So this can really save you time and sometimes a lot of trouble, because usually the other way around that is to go into the app you're working, figure out where you can download all your contacts, download them as a CSV file, go to Nimble, upload the CSV file, go through the trouble of mapping the fields, creating tags, and so on. So with PySync, it's much easier because it's really easy to set up. So the way it works is that you literally either just go through the list of the applications here, or you can even start typing it. So if you're using Mailchimp, this little box will launch. It will ask you to log into your Mailchimp account, authorize it, and then the way it works is on this and that rules. So for instance, you can set it up when new contact gets created in Mailchimp, create this record in Nimble as well and apply this tag. Or if somebody unsubscribes, then do this in Mailchimp and vice versa. So it's super easy to set up. And one important thing that I don't want to forget to mention is the cost. So like I said, you have 14 days to try it out, import as many contacts as you want. And if after that you would want to keep your contacts in sync, if you sync less than 2,000 contacts per month, the integration remains free. If you have more contacts, then there would be a charge associated with that. And I'll ask my colleague Taylor to send you a link to PySync's pricing, where you can kind of play with it and see how much it would be for you. It depends on the number of contacts you would be syncing. So I'm just quickly going through the settings here. We covered how to connect your emails, how to connect your calendars, how to import your contacts from various different places. If it's a CSV file, then it looks very similar like the LinkedIn CSV import. So you just click upload CSV file. You can choose file to upload. And I forgot to mention that you have option to save your mapping. So if you are importing contacts from a custom spreadsheet that you may have been using to keep a track of your current customers, and now you're for the first time transitioning into using a CRM, and maybe you have several spreadsheets, you'll be running several imports, or you have coworkers that have been using similar structure and they will be importing contacts, you can go through the mapping once and then save the mappings for future. So you would be using this blue button here. So this is a custom spreadsheet I had. So you would just go through some of the mapping fields that we didn't recognize. So first, it really depends in what state the spreadsheet is. So this one had a column that had both first name and last name in it, but in Nimble, we actually have it separate, but it's okay because you can literally just click the drop-down menu here and then start typing what is it you want to change or map, or just go through the contact information here. And this is a full name that you want, and it's in this order, first and last. Work email is work email, phone number will be work phone number, work fax, and so on. When you're done with the mapping, you can skip all those that you don't need in case you haven't cleaned up the spreadsheet before import, if there are any fields that you don't have in Nimble yet. We do have custom fields that you can use to create any fields that we don't currently have in Nimble. So for any custom columns that you might have in your spreadsheet, you can actually create a custom field inside of Nimble. So if you haven't done that before, you can set it up on the import. And we'll also go through how you can set it up before that, which I recommend because it's better to visualize what it will look like in Nimble and exactly what the fields are that you want to set up. So when you're done mapping, you can skip all the fields you don't need. And again, you'll land on the screen, decide how you want to merge the contacts, and always, always, always apply a tag. Before we go to today's page, I also want to go quickly through the rest of the settings here. Let's go through my account. So as you can see, you can upload your picture here. This is also where you are able to change your password, and you can also transfer account ownership, which is really important because sometimes the person tasked with figuring out if Nimble is the CRM that they might want to use for their company is not the person that will then be the account admin who will be giving people permission to do certain things. So this is where you can transfer ownership. You can also change the time zone and the currency here. In billing, you would of course be able to sign up for our annual business account or sign up for the month-to-month version. You can always see the account usage here, how many prospector credits you have. We have a contact discovery feature called Nimble Prospector that allows you to hover over any name anywhere inside on the internet, and as well as inside of your Nimble database. And then as long as you know the first name and last name and the company they work for, we will be able to find their email address. So it's a really great prospecting tool, and Nimble comes with 25 prospector credits per user. And if you then decide that is a feature that you would like to use, you have the option to upgrade. So this is where you would be able to review how many you have left, and you can also upgrade. In notifications, this is where you can decide how you want Nimble to notify you about all the different things that we can do for you. So we have a task feature inside of Nimble, so you can get notified when a task is due, so you can then get it done. We also have custom activities in Nimble, which are really useful for any custom activities, really. So for instance, if you do a lot of in-person meetings, you can set that as a custom activity and then report on it. You can also set it up for any trade shows or so on. So you would also be able to decide if you want to get notified about that, or your call notifications, or if you want us to send you a notification or a browser desktop pop-up notification about people opening your emails. We covered networks and imports. Highlighted contacts. So Nimble has a feature called highlighted contacts that you can use to tell Nimble what are the keywords and the titles that are important for you and your business. And what happens after you start importing your contacts into Nimble is that Nimble will then match these keywords and the titles to the people you already have in Nimble and help you resurface more. So if we detect that you're not in touch with this person, there hasn't been a lot of communication with them, we'll like bring them in on Today page and give you the opportunity to review if they're really somebody you should be in touch with. And then we'll kind of bring it to your attention and leave it up to you to decide if you want to reach out to them. In email settings, this is where you can copy and paste your email signature, and then it will be automatically added to any emails you send from Nimble, individual emails and group messages. We also have templates in Nimble, so this is where you can set them up, and this is also where you can manage your unsubscribe list. So we'll go through the group message feature in a little bit, and you'll see that we have an option for you to always share an unsubscribe link, so people can then click on it and opt out from your mailings. For account administrators, this is a very important part in settings. This is where you can add and remove licenses, invite additional team members. So you just type in their email addresses, they'll get a notification in their email, and they'll be able to set up their own instance of Nimble. You can also give them permission to do certain things. You can restrict them from being able to bulk export and bulk delete. So then you don't run into issues of your team members exporting your database shortly before they leave your company. Or you can also restrict them or give them the option to configure multiple pipelines in Nimble. We also have settings for deal privacy. So people can either view all of them, view, edit all, or view and just edit their own. This is where you can create multiple pipelines, and we'll go over it once we are talking about deals, because this is just another place where you can set it up. You can also set it up straight under deals. So we'll go over it in more details once we get to that in our presentation. I already covered data fields in Nimble a little bit, so this is where you could set them up. These are the custom data fields that I mentioned that you might want to be setting up for any custom columns that you might be using in your current spreadsheets. So Nimble allows you to create up to 5 custom tabs. So it could be any programs, for instance, that you are running. You could create the tab called programs and then define all the individual fields. They might be, it could be an account owner. And then you can decide if you want it to be a single line text or multi-line text. If you want it to be a select box, and you could just list all your team members here. You could select if you want it to be just 1 column wide or 2 column wide. So it would look like this if you wanted it to be that wide, or really anything else. When was it when they became a customer since, it could be a single line text. And once we go through a contact record, you will see what it actually looks like. So just to reiterate, you can create up to 5 custom tabs, and under each tab, I think there is a limit, but it's like really high, over 100. So you can create as many fields as you want, basically. So I also covered custom activities. So this is where the administrator of your account could set it up. So it could be anything like a press briefing or product training, sales call, in-person meeting, trade show, any kind of a conference or anything. So that's settings. I think we covered everything. If you have any questions, please type it in and I'll answer it at the end of today's session. So here we are on Today page. The idea for Today page is for you to know right away what are the most important things that you need to get done that day. So under Manage Widgets, this is where you can tell Nimble which boxes you actually want to see. You can also see Add or Remove Widgets and see the entire list of them. So you can see a widget called Deals. So this is where you'll see a list of all your deals that are active. Events will be your calendar events. So anything that's on any of your calendars that you have connected into Nimble will show up there. Tasks will be your to-dos. So you'll see right away what are all the things that you need to get done that day, and then use it to get them done. This is where you would see your highlighted contacts. So those contacts that are matching the keywords that you put into Nimble. Signals will be signals from Twitter. If you are not using Twitter for your business, you can also get rid of it. Stay in touch feature. Nimble has a stay in touch feature that allows you to stay in touch with people on regular basis. So you can set it up to stay in touch with them on weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly, and you can also set up a custom reminder. So all your upcoming stay in touch reminders will pop up in this widget. For people that are in sales or business owners, you might want to utilize the stage funnel and pipeline chart widgets, so it will help you better visualize what's going on with your funnels and how much money is there and what stages most of them are in, and quickly give you an idea on where you need to focus on. We also offer email tracking, so that is a really good widget to have open so you can see how people are interacting with your messages. Once you're done with selecting those that are important to you, you can also drag and drop. So for me, I always want to see my tasks on the first spot. Then I want to see what's on my calendar for the day. And I also pay attention to email tracking. So this is what it looks like. You can also change the cover here. So click Manage Widgets and you are able to upload your logo here and change the cover. So let's go into context. So on the left side here, you can run a quick segmentation in Nimble. This is where you can see all your contacts that you have imported into Nimble. This is where you can see just people, just companies, those that you mark as important, and those are the people that you click on the star on. So then you can easily access them here. So those could be your VIP customers or team members or anybody. You can also quickly see the recently viewed, recently edited, recently contacted, and those that you set up a stay in touch reminder for. So as you can see, you can click on this clock here and set up the reminder for them. We also have a removed contacts feature. So it probably happened to you in the past. You selected something in some kind of an app. They ask you 3 times if you really wanted to delete something, and then you realize you actually didn't. So this is like a backup plan we offer you. So in settings, you can also set up how long you want the remove contacts to stay in here. And then you can go here and recover them. So let's just select somebody. I'm going to use our CEO, John Ferrara, and I'm going to show you what the contact record looks like inside of Nimble. So we show you all the basic stuff, their first name, last name, title, their picture. You can also click on it and select more recent picture. And you can also upload it in case, people are not active on social media and you can just like quickly select it. So this is where you could upload a picture. This is where you see their contact information. This is Nimble Prospector that I mentioned earlier. So as long as you know their first name, last name, and the company they work for, we'll be able to find their contact information. And you can easily just select it, save the data, and it will get attached to their contact record. And this is all the tags you can see. So this is where it gives you an idea how they got into Nimble. What are the different tags that you or anybody else on your team put on them? So it can give you an idea into the relationship with the person you have or who they are. Maybe they'll have tags like sales influencer, or maybe somebody on your team tagged them as a journalist who previously wrote about you. So then you could use the tag to pull up a list of people that previously covered your company. And if you have any news that you're about to announce, you can use this list of people to reach out to them and ask them if maybe they would want to cover you again. So that's just one use case that came to mind that I personally use in Nimble. We also have these lead lead fields. So you can use it to qualify the person, and these individual ones are completely customizable. So you would do that in settings under data fields. So you could select the lead status, lead source, and again, you can customize all these. Same for the lead type. We also offer this smart summary to give you like a preview into who the person is. So you can use it to prepare before meetings. And under interactions here, this is where you'll see everything that has been done with the person. So under all, well, we'll show you everything, including notes, activities, custom activities, any messages or emails that you have exchanged with the person, or any deals. So once you've interacted with certain individuals a lot, you might start to find this view a little overwhelming. So that's when we give you the option to go through these individual tabs and only see notes that you or somebody else on your team added to the contact record. This is where you can see the activities and further focus on any specific ones. So you can just select the event. So when trying to figure out when was the last time you actually talked to the person, you can see it here. This is where you would see all the messages that you have exchanged with them, and those would be messages on email and also Twitter. Of course, if you're using Twitter and have connected it to Nimble in settings. This is where you'll see any pending deals, and then you would be able to click into it and see what has been done and in what stage the deal is and what's going on. To create notes, super easy. You just click here, type the note. We have some formatting features here. You can also log past activities. So as you can see, this is to log anything that already happened in the past. This is why the mark is completed is already checked. So you could mark any task, create any task that already happened. And the idea is for you to have everything in one place. So then if you or anybody else on your team opens up the contact record, they know exactly what has been done with them and what are the next steps that need to happen to, move the relationship forward and do whatever your goal is with the person. For any future things, you can use the schedule button here, so you can schedule a task and then delegate it to somebody else on your team if you want them to perform the task. You can also add the description here, and you can also create tags. So if you are running a specific campaign or you're launching a product or something, you could mark all the tasks related to that specific project with a tag, and then you or somebody else on your team can pull up the tag and focus on the to-dos by the specific projects that are most important. This is where you could send or track messages from Nimble. So you can either continue to email people from inside of Nimble, or you can also email from inside of your existing email client, or you can also email them from inside of Nimble. It doesn't matter what option you choose. It really is on your personal preference. Once you have connected your email account to Nimble, we will be able to track the messages. So it really doesn't matter if you send it from Nimble or if you continue to use Outlook in Outlook or Gmail in Gmail. The only thing when it matters, if you currently don't have email tracking, if you're not Office 365 user that has included email tracking, then you might benefit from using the email client inside of Nimble, because we give you the option to track the message and then give you the insights on the clicks and opens. If you're a Gmail user, this option is available within G Suite, and I'll also show you what it looks like. So deals can be created here. It's very easy. You can set up the probability, the amount. This is where you can set up this, pick the specific pipeline. We have multiple pipelines, so it's very useful for companies that are selling multiple products. You can also select the stage and assign it to yourself or somebody else on your team and set the privacy. Before we move forward, I also want to show you our segmentation. You launch it by going on contacts and then clicking into the search box here. So these, what we call quick filters, will pop up. These are not the only filters you can use to segment your database on. These are just the fields that people use the most. So you could, for instance, pull up the list of all the CRM writers or any tag that you have previously created. So maybe I'll select one that where I have a lot of people, so I can select all my LinkedIn contacts. But then I would want to further segment it. So to start, I just want to focus on people because I want to send an email to people. I can just ask Nimble to show me all the CEOs. So now we're down to 57. And then the next step usually is I can select everybody here. Also, when you're working with a large set of people, always pay attention to the middle of this yellow box, because we will automatically just select the people, the first 30 people on the page. So if you have a big selection you're working with, this is where we will ask you if you want to select everybody. So I could quickly mark everybody as important. I could set up a stay in touch reminder with them. I could tag them. I could export it. I could delete them and send them a group message. Before we go to sending a group message, I also want to show you how you can save a segment. So if you create a search that you feel like you would want to be using in the future, you can just name it. And then it will be saved in here. And once a new contact gets into Nimble and they match the search fields that you used, they will automatically enter the segment. So it'll always be updated and it will save you time on any future outreaches. So let's pretend like I want to email all these people. So I could just click this button. So as you can see, there are two tabs here on the left side, recipients. So everybody I actually have email for. If I don't have email for them, they will be under errors. And this is where I could also use Nimble Prospector to find their email address. And once I find it, I can save it to their contact record and they'll show up under the list of recipients. I can also pick from existing template inside of Nimble, or I can save whatever I just typed as a new template. We have merge text in Nimble, which is really useful. It helps you with customizing the message, personalizing it. So I could just say, hey guys, and then merge on first name, and then Nimble will automatically grab everybody's first name. You can also send yourself a test message, which is very useful to do to make sure that there are no typos and everything that if you included any link, that it works. So always recommend doing that. Once you send that out, you will land back on the group message view and you'll be able to get the insights on the clicks and opens. So you'll see the status, if they opened, when you sent it, when was the last time they opened it, when was the last time they clicked, if there was a link you included, last time they opened it, if they opened how many times, if they clicked then how many times. So then you would be able to select them and send them possibly another templated message, or tag them and then ask somebody else on your team to take this tag and then do the follow-up with them. So those were group messages. If you have any questions, please write it down so I can answer. So activities, this is where you can see everything that's on your agenda, and you can filter it by just tasks, calls, or events on your calendar, or custom activities. You can pull up those that have been assigned to you or somebody else on your team. And this is where you could select specific tags. So if you want to go through things that are related to a project that's, one that has a closest deadline, you can select it here. We also have activities listing, which is really useful for if you need to do a lot of cold calling that day, or if you just want to create like a to-do list. So again, you can focus on the things that have been assigned just to you. You can filter it just by calls, for instance, or just tasks. And then you can play with you can set up the date range that's important to you. You can also configure the table here. So if you're making phone calls, the field that you would want to probably have there is the phone number. You can easily drag and drop. I say easily, but it didn't really work for me. And then you can pin those that are important. So this is how you get it to the front. So this is where they would show up, and you would be able to go through them really fast, one by one. This is where you can add new activity to your list, and you can also export the list of activities and then email it to somebody, or if you like to, have a physical version of that as well, you can use this export option. So here we are in deals. And as I mentioned earlier, we have multiple pipelines, so you can customize you can create as many pipelines as you want and then customize the individual stages. So you would do so under Customize Pipelines. You can rename it. This is where you can set up the individual stages, set up the number of days you allow each deal to stay in each stage, and so on. So you can either use it in this pipeline view or also in a list view. So again, that's just on your personal preference. You can select those that you own or are shared across the team, or any specific team members, active deals, those that have been won, those that have been lost, and those that are stuck. So stuck will be those that when in a few seconds ago we were looking in the settings where you can set how many days you allow each deal to stay in each stage. So once that goes past that, you'll see that they'll get in the stuck option. They'll look all red on your pipeline, so they'll be kind of like bugging you to move them forward. So once you do that, there is a change with the deal, you can easily move them through your pipeline by dragging and dropping. We also have some basic reporting, so you can create a team report or individual report. You can report on all your pipelines or individual ones. This is where you can set up the time frame. We'll look at the next month predictions, next 3 months, deals history here. You can also print it out or save it as a PDF file, and then again, print it out for a meeting or email it to somebody. So right now, I would like to go into the mobile application. So we have mobile apps for both iPhone and Android. So if you're not using it yet, go to the store that you're using, download it, and check it out. It is really, really useful. It will allow you to quickly see what's on your calendar, quickly preview who are the people that you're meeting with. You can quickly look at their contact records, see what's been done with them, what are the tags, are there any deals pending with them, what's on their bio, what are they influential in, where are they located, are there any match keywords, what are their websites. You can quickly go on the company's website, see what they do, and just get prepared for the meeting. You can also see if there's anything pending, like any deals or to-dos. You can see the history of the interaction with the person. You can also share the contact. You can edit it, delete it, add to your phone book. You can create a deal straight from the mobile app, add a note to the contact record. This is how you can create a task, and you can create a task for yourself or delegate it. And you can make a phone call or schedule a phone call. So if you're running late, you're just on your phone, you're not on your computer, and you have a phone number for the person, you can quickly give them a call or quickly send them an email. This is where you can also select from which email you want it to go out of and send it. And you can pick if you want us to track the email or if it's not necessary. So you can just select it here. So this is the calendar agenda. That's the first step you'll see. Next tab on the mobile app are tasks. So you can see everything that's upcoming, everything you have completed, any tasks that you start. Maybe those are like really important to you. You absolutely have to get them done. Like I have to hire a nanny. And you can also preview those that have been delegated. And when you click on the plus sign button in the top right corner, you can also create a new task. In contacts, you can go through your contact database, you can search for people, you can create a new contact. We also have a business card scanner, which is super useful. You can just take a picture of a business card and Nimble will create a contact record for you. And you can then put a tag on it, like right away create a task, delegate it to somebody on your team, or just put it on your to-do list to make sure that whatever you just promised to anybody you might be just finishing a meeting with, that it gets done. You can preview your deals, create new ones, and you can also set up email tracking and so on. So this is the iPhone app. The Android app looks very similar. The features are almost identical. Now, I would like to quickly cover our upcoming webinars. So next week, I'll be hosting a special training webinar about using Nimble for personal branding and networking. So if you're interested in that, you can register on nimble.com/company/webinars. So this is a mistake. This must be November 20th. I'll be covering how to use Nimble for public relations and brand building. On November 27th, I'll be doing another general overview of Nimble and a Nimble mobile overview. And on December 11th, we'll be covering how you can use Nimble for influencer marketing. We also have a special offer today for new users. So if you sign up today, you can get 30 days of Nimble for free. And on the free trial, you will be able to access all the features that then you would be able to use once you become a paid customer. So you can go to nimble.com/offer/webinar30, and I'll ask my colleague Taylor to also copy and paste this into the question box so you guys can use it. And we'll also send everybody a follow-up email letter today, so you'll be able to sign up there. If you're already in trial and you want to extend, you can also write to us at care@nimble.com, and we will be more than happy to extend your trial. So with that, thank you so much for staying over and have a great rest of your day. Bye.